I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the Johnstown electricity situation. So, for those of you who aren't familiar, recently the owner of the Galleria Mall came out and mentioned that their electric bill for the mall had gone up from 52,000 to 100,000 in just over a month, basically doubling. And he ends up mentioning that he's reached out to congressmen and senators to see if they can help him out, and if not, he's gonna try to sell. And I actually feel like that would be devastating to that area because the owner of the mall has put a lot of time and effort into trying to revitalize it to really help that community. And I would hate to see him end up selling. It looks like he did have some follow up with their state senator, but the only real advice that they gave to him was to change the LEDs and cut other expenses to try to keep expenses down. But I don't really see him being able to cut 50% of his expenses to make up for the 100% increase. So, yeah, not much help there. And as for John Joyce, I don't really foresee him doing much because First Energy is one of his donors. I really hope he does end up stepping in to help, but I don't see it happening. But the other thing about this situation that I don't think is talked about enough, that the people of the area are also seeing their electric bills double. They're also experiencing hardships from this that isn't really covered in them. I'm sure there's a lot of other areas in the district that may be experiencing the same thing. And if you have experienced these, please comment in the bottom. I'd like for other people who haven't experienced this in the area yet to be able to see what other people are experiencing, because unfortunately it's coming for all of us. We made a lot of mistakes over the past 10 years trying to fight over what energy we should be using, and instead the citizens ended up getting the short end of the stick once again. I'm an advocate of something I like to call energy diversification. So let's look at it this way. Look at it kind of like your stock portfolio. For those of you who have like a 401k, typically what happens is they don't invest in one or two stocks. Like that wouldn't make sense. There's too much risk in that. So what they do is they spread it out over maybe dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of stocks to make sure your portfolio is growing, but keeps it safe from individual stocks tanking. So what does this mean for energy? So with energy, we should be using all forms of energy that we have at our fingertips. We should be using oil, we should be using solar, we should be using nuclear, which nuclear is probably my favorite one, to be honest. And we should be using wind, we should be using hydro. I'm probably missing one or two, but you get the idea. If we would have prepared more, we wouldn't have nearly as many issues as we do with rising electricity costs as we do now. Now, some of you are going to bring up the AI data center issue that we're having currently as well, which I do count as a separate issue that I do plan to address in the future as well. But anyway, I mainly bring this up because I want to emphasize throughout my campaign how poor of a job we've done at planning as a government. We've got to put more people in government that are going to have the foresight to be able to see 10, 20 years down the line. And instead of fighting over singular issues, they need to look at the bigger picture and see, what do we actually need to do? And I also promised you that I would show you how I plan to fix things in reference to different issues. So I'm not going to do it in this video, but the next video I'm going to show you some legislation that I would like to put forward that I think will help with electricity costs, but also help save small family farms. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.